Hi guys, welcome back. This is episode 6 of our mini-series on bicycle maintenance, all about seats and saddles. I'm Jamie from the Barnsley Active Travel Hub. I'm
Rob from the Rotherham Cycle Hub.
Alright, so first of all, we're going to quickly talk you through some things about the saddle clamp and the saddle itself. So I'll pass you over to Rob for that.
Lovely stuff. So what I've got here is I've got the saddle itself attached to the seat post of the bike. Your saddle is one of your main contact points with the bike, so it's a good job to have that kind of, it's in good condition and that, you know, it's looked after and everything's how it should be. So there's a few things to point out. Importantly is how the saddle's attached to the seat post. You normally have a bolt on the bottom there. Sometimes you may have 2 bolts, and this is what helps clamp the saddle onto the seat post. So it's important that that's nice and clamped on tight. You don't want your saddle moving around or wiggling about. It's going to make you unstable. It's not going to be very pleasant to ride. So you can always check your bike, with your bike on the ground or whatever, give your saddle a wiggle, give it a shake. There shouldn't be any movement there on the saddle. You also just want to be careful as well with these rails here, which hold the saddle together. You also want to make sure that they're not damaged in any way. They're not kind of not coming disattached from the kind of actual saddle itself. You can normally hear them as well. They'll often be kind of creaky and quite noisy if there's any problems with there. So make sure your saddle's in good condition. If this is loose, you want to tighten it. It's also important as well that this here can help set the angle of your saddle. So ideally you want your saddle to be nice and flat, kind of nice and level. If it's pointing up too much like that, it's going to be quite uncomfortable and you're at risk of slipping back off the bike. If it's too far forward, there's a good chance you're going to be slipping forward. You're going to be putting more weight on your hands, on your arms, and you're just going to be a bit more unstable. So making sure your saddle's set up well is a key component there. Also, just kind of cosmetically, have a look at your saddle. Any big cuts, rips or tears or anything like that, they can actually cause the saddle to be kind of problematic. You might find it's uncomfortable, or you might find you don't sit on it evenly. So have a look on your saddle. Some natural wear and tear is fine, but any kind of big cuts and that might damage the integrity of it. And yeah, I'm going to pass you over to Jamie, who's going to talk to you a bit more about getting your saddle height right and how you should fit on the bike.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about saddle height adjustment now, which is very important to get right on your bike. Obviously, you want the saddle at the optimum height for you to ride the bike safely. If the saddle height is too high, you will obviously find it very uncomfortable to pedal and difficult to pedal a bike normally. If the saddle is too low, it can also put a great deal of pressure on your knees and other aspects of your body, and it will be uncomfortable in the longer run. So it's just something you want to get fine-tuned and dialed in correctly, and it's obviously very specific to you and the style of your bike. This is my bicycle here, which is obviously set up already for my saddle height, and I'll just quickly run that through for you now. So, a good measure of the correct saddle height is that when your crank and pedal is at the bottom of the pedal stroke, you want a very slight bend in your knee. So, I don't know if it may be difficult to see, but my leg is not fully extended. There's a slight bend in the knee angle here, and that's the sign that the saddle is roughly in the right position. If the saddle height is too great, obviously my leg would be fully locked out. This wouldn't be ideal. A saddle height that's too low, even when you're at the bottom of the pedal stroke, if you've got a very, very bent knee, again, that's a sign your saddle height may need adjusting. It's worth pointing out with your saddle at the correct height, you may not be able to touch the floor, as I'm demonstrating. So if you're a little bit uncomfortable, if you're not ridden a bike for a little while, and you're just trying to get your position right, you may want it a little lower than optimum until you feel more comfortable and you can raise it to the correct height. So I'll quickly just talk you through how to adjust the saddle height as well. So the most common type you get is just on this bicycle here, which is a quick release clamp. So exactly the same principle as we've looked at already on the wheels. In order to raise or lower the saddle, you basically just need to undo the clamp. Now the saddle clamp will be loose. You can raise or lower the seat post to whichever height you like. Make sure it's lined up and close the clamp again. Once the clamp's closed, obviously, and you've raised it to the desired height, just do another check to make sure the saddle and seat post are secure and they're not going to move. As Rob's mentioned, when you're riding and the saddle's moving, it can be very disconcerting and obviously unsafe. So that's pretty much everything we need to cover on saddles and seat posts. So we look forward to seeing you next time.